Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Live episode. Oh, it's season 2, episode 23, the start of things to come. Yeah, right. So, evening, admins. How are we? We all good?
Good evening. Yes.
Yep.
Good. A plethora in tonight. We've got Ren, obviously. Yeah, we've got Brian, George, Robin, and Stu's here. Hello, Stu.
Stu showed up.
Yeah.
But he's on mute. He's not
Why
going to
do
say
you always say something to me when I'm typing in the YouTube chat? Like,
Because
it's
it's
like you've
funny.
got a mind for it.
It's funny.
I just have to like speed type, like quick, get my words out, and then unmute.
I'll tell you what, because as soon as your mic go on mute, mate, I'm making sure I talk to you.
I know, it's brilliant. I hate you guys, I really do. Why do I come back? Like, I should have stayed away.
Because we like you, Stu.
I know.
Because you're special needs. Right, moving on.
Wow.
Short boss.
He shoots scores.
Honesty is the best way forward. Right. Okay, so we've got a good show on tonight. And we could have a special guest later on. Well, we were going to have a special guest later on. Okay. To talk about a few issues that's obviously going on in the show. That we've got some Q&A, but also things that are going on in the game and possibly a way forward. But we'll keep that a little bit to a little bit later on. What we will go through, though, is obviously today's update in the game and a bit of a preview on some things that I managed to get today from the guys at Kicks that are basically a special to us, which is nice. And thanks very much, GDR and GDA, for the detail. Right, should we get the slides up? Or shall I waffle some more? No, let's get them up, shall we? He says, put it on.
Yes, let's.
Present first. We're good. Let me know when you see them. A nice tease.
I
Yes,
can see
Mike.
the slide.
Okay, and I'll say hi to everybody in chat. There's a plethora of people there, so welcome all. So, yes, so what have we got?
Hi, everyone in chat.
Okie dokie. So here we go. As you can see then, so it's it's the 6th of June 2017. The start of things to come. Okay, and so and yes, so GD8 will be in a bit later on.
So before we move on, Stu, can you say GD's name here?
Yep, 100%. I've got it. You ready?
Go on.
GD,
Yes.
Aspereska.
Thank you. That's exactly how I would have
That
said
is
it.
exactly how you say that name. Yeah?
I'll
Are
just,
you having a stroke?
Yes.
Probably.
I always want to say GD Arspex, but there we go. It's just me.
Yeah,
I
Aspereska.
keep wanting to say the asterisk.
An asterisk. Yeah, that's
GDR's what?
Arspec. He's
Well,
not on
it's
yet,
not
is he?
coming on now.
Well,
I don't know these
TFC,
people.
It was fun.
I don't know these people. Someone in chat just put GDR text. Anyway, what are we doing? Yeah, right, moving on. Sorry, right. So tonight's slide pack contains, there we go. So it's a rerun this week, isn't it, of the Homeland TLC. Ren, thanks very much, mate. I tagged your video set that you did for that for that run. With all 7 runs, isn't it, basically, with some pretty low level text. So no one should really have any huge issues this far on in the game, because that was run actually back, I think, in February or something like that. So things have moved on, people's hulls have moved on, and we've got new tech out and about for all of us to use. So I don't think you should have any major dramas there. It was things like spites in the bases, and obviously the old citadels with a Punisher lead on the garrison stuff. So
Yeah, vendettas, all that stuff.
vendettas and that sort of thing. So we should be okay. And then we'll talk about the new turret. We know there's a transition today. Bug fixes and tuning, which he's on mute, but we'll get Stu to cover that piece. Then we'll talk about sneak peeks, the way forward, as was hinted in the title screen. And then hopefully by that time, if not, we'll stall and we'll just let George talk, which will take forever. Oh, he's on. He's in. Hey, the very man himself.
Why were you late, man? You let us down.
Everybody be polite now, okay?
Hello,
Until we were
GDR's
done with our
respect.
fabulous introductions.
Yeah, I
can
can
rewatch that bit and then
100% promise that I definitely got your name right first try. Like, definitely, mate. Like, send me Kickside mouse mat and stuff.
I'll
Like-
send you a dog with a bunch of porcupine spikes in his face.
Oh, that
Reba
picture's
Dog
cracking.
OP.
Okay, so there we go, and welcome, GDO mate. It's good to have you on. So there, so we're going to scoot through some of the slides quite quickly. So the content will be there for you in the slide pack when we upload it onto the Facebook page. But because I know a lot of people like to download it and go for it slowly and that sort of stuff. But the Homeland has already been run once. You'll have the tech, or you should have the tech. And those who didn't manage to complete the whole thing last time, I think you'll find it a bit more favourable, and you should be able to get yourself a good hull to finish off with. And talking of hulls and stuff, so let's go straight into it. Homeland TLC, like I said, you've got to be OP level 9 to compete. Obviously, 3 run-throughs, that sort of stuff, processing from 5 right up to 7 encounters. Okay, then a note, a footnote, which is good. Andrew's put that on, that tier 6 Colcra hulls may participate in 5 and 7, which are the base attack ones. I'm sure MudGluts can probably do a bit of a mess in there as well, but we won't talk about those until later.
I'll just add, I'll tell you, I did the first run through just to see, in number 5 you can do it in one without surfacing once.
Okay, smarty pants.
Do the whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay,
They
so not a great deal's changed there. So as we said, 1 to 4 obviously is garrison targets, and then you skip into obviously a base target. Number 6 is back to a garrison, and then number 7 finishes off with a base target. That's obviously on the 3rd run. Good. Just a reminder then, there's the prizes. Run 1 obviously gets the skip enhancement. Okay, and then it's a hyena missile for your base. If you never had that before, okay, it is a super turret top, I must admit. But I think some people in the very, very high end of the game are starting to reduce the number in their base, or move on to other things as well. But for those in the mid to sort of low mid levels, then it's a cracking turret as far as I'm concerned. Run 3 obviously gets you the Liberator, which is still a cracking hull, I think, and it does do wonders to your game. Right, cool. So there we go. So that's a Homeland TLC. Job done. Anything to add, guys? Anybody?
The hyena, excuse me, the hyena I think is still really, really good for even top end bases. I don't know people that aren't running them still. And the Liberator, I mean, if you guys can get it, especially this run through, it's still fantastic, and you can use it in some of the other TLCs and stuff. I mean, all 3 of these, I like all 3 of them. I like this TLC in general.
Yeah, and it's definitely doable. And as it says at the bottom, then for those badge collectors, if you haven't done this one already, then do for 5 rounds. Bear in mind, you've got to do 5 rounds to get 5 Liberators and that sort of stuff. It's a normal way for these sort of restricted PvP holes, or limited, sorry, not restricted. But you'll get a badge for that, just to pat yourself on the back and go, well done. There you go. Good.
I kind of wish there was some more VXP tokens, but I don't know where they would have put them in.
Well, you obviously get. Oh, there's one there. That's better than nothing.
There's one, yeah, there's one, and that way you can actually use it going. You can at least have one built for future TLCs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's important. A lot of players already put the pieces together, but for those who didn't, to realize that it's kind of a chain reaction, right? So people who had the pride or the malice could some vendettas can get the Liberator. Then if you have the Liberator, it's easier to get the Oppressor. Then if you have the Oppressor, you kind of can get the, I think it's the Gluttony next or whatever. So there's kind of a sequence in there. So if you don't earn and build at least a couple of these hulls, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure in the future.
Yeah, it's a chain event, isn't it? Yeah, as we spoke about that in the actually the end of year show, didn't we? So that was clear.
And with all the tokens, it's fairly easy. I mean, if you can do the mastery level 4 times, let's say, you have 24 days of tokens, which is pretty much enough to build 2 of them instantly. Right?
Yeah.
But you don't even need that. As long as you can just do 1, you might need to mess around with a shipyard a little bit to get something that's about 6 days. But as long as you give it turret defense, and if you want to give it radio deflection, and you just give it a weapon to spot, and you bring in vendettas or heck even citadels or monos behind it, you should be fine, because it's the deflections that matter for the future TLCs, not so much the offense, although this hull is good on offense too.
Yeah, so as long as you've got some form of conqueror, you should be okay, because obviously if you haven't got any conquerors at all, then you are going to struggle. Well, in fact, you won't be able to complete it, because obviously you need conquerors to go into the levels. Right, okay, so there we go. And if you need obviously the detail, then like I say, you have to download the PDF or look obviously on Kickside Zone forum for the full of information. Okay, so new target change. As we know, in fact, George, you want to pick up this one, mate, because you were chatting about it earlier on, mate.
With the new
switch,
well,
yeah. So today's target change.
This week they're gonna take the 102 out, and it's gonna be replaced with a new 103. We were actually trying to get a peek at that, and I don't think we got it right.
No, I did speak to the guys, I must admit, and they couldn't get a decent picture. So rather than putting them a crappy res, let's just wait. So it's the better way of doing it. So
yeah,
didn't get one in time, unfortunately.
The payout, I think we've had this verified, is a little bit over 27 million. Is that right?
Yeah, so I've got 27,066. So yeah, thereabouts. So that shouldn't be a great deal of difference, to be honest.
Yeah, and then the 103 is going to be a blitz target. So, a lot of people how come the 113 isn't a blitz? Well, it's not a blitz. The 103 is the blitz target. And Kix, recommends hitting with the monoliths of the icebreakers. That doesn't mean that you won't be able to hit with other stuff, as we've seen, Citadel is doing 113. So it just means that's the recommendation. I won't get bent actually the next line, don't get all hell bent over the change.
Exactly.
Just like the 113, and it's probably going to paraphrase this next part. Just like the 113, everyone thought the sky was falling; it was impossible. We heard all sorts of stuff about, oh, you can't do this unless you have charged armor. Oh, it's taken me 6 hours of damage and all this stuff. Give it a little bit of time. The community is very resourceful. We've come up and found paths to do it. We found that you don't need charged armor to do it. There's videos up. I mean, I got a couple of videos. I saw it. I think Jason put a video up doing it with a single Zealous. It's a specific build, and that does use charged armor. But there are options. You're not stuck to just one way of doing this. The other thing I do want to say
it's actually kind of fun to see all the folks coming in. The sky is falling on the first 3 hours of a brand new target, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're day
one,
one, season one of a new era, aren't we? And so, come on, let's. It's supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be a puzzle. So let's unpick the puzzle, which is people are already managing to do.
And I think within the first hour or two, we had a couple videos up of under 1 hour damage, and then under a half an hour damage. I mean, people just have to chill a little bit and relax.
Yeah. Well, my video, doing with Zamps, I think my video was up 3-4 hours after FM started with 23-minute damage.
Yeah,
can't you just,
I beat you. I think I beat you with the 15-minute one.
No, Stu, you can't use MudGluts. Stop being a knob. Okay.
Right. 103. Look, when the 103 comes out, guys, just give it a little bit. Don't freak out. Just give it a day or two, and someone's going to come up with something.
Yeah. Good, excellent. So this is the next transition, and obviously there will be another one. Well, the next ones will actually be now after the raid, won't they? Because this is obviously this one's going to go through, and then we're going to have a pause. We're going to do the 6-day raid, and then we're going to start again. So it'll be for the middle and low levels, obviously, when they start hitting the replacement of the the 87 and that sort of stuff, and going down, that sort of stuff. Yeah, does that make sense? But it's all on the Kickstarter forum, and we've actually dealt with it in the show previously, so. It is all there for you to have a look at. Right, shall we move on then? Let's have a quick look. Right, okay.
Quick question before we move on, Mark.
Yeah, go.
To GDA, if you can comment. The new FM 103, is it any target we've seen before, either in the raid or in that TLC from last week?
Mechanics are pretty much the same. It's not the same target.
So it's a new target.
It's a new target.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Interesting. Okay, good. Right. Did we talk about payouts, percentage, and moving things around for the 113? Did we talk about that?
That's in bug fixes and tuning.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, I was going to say, I just wanted to say
right
well
there.
done. As far as I'm concerned, Stu, this is your bit, but I want to pause on part one, if you wouldn't mind.
Alrighty. Redistributed the raid. No, that's not what it says. Redistributed the points paid out in the 113 FM target to be associated with more central buildings and turrets. This should alleviate the problem regarding the overpopulation of incomplete 113 targets on the world map. These new templates will be available at the start of the next FM cycle starting Wednesday at 9 a.m. PST.
You know you only had one job, right?
I did, but
His job was to pronounce our guest's name.
You can't
Pay
pronounce
me
his own
Nailed
name.
it, dude.
Not for reading.
So yeah, I know, mate. Okay, so apart from announcing GDA's obviously full name, okay, which he'll have to rerun the show to see how amusing that was.
I know.
Okay,
Come on.
it's a bit of bug fixes and tuning. Okay, so yeah, listen, all I can say is several people, obviously, from various different pages, commented that it'd be really nice if we didn't have a rerun of obviously the 109 problems, and that was obviously people doing a percentage of a target and then just leaving a mess afterwards on that, and it really proper hacked off a lot of players and that sort of stuff.
Actually, Mark, I was about to say as well, if I didn't log in and see someone say, "Oh my God, who's leaving half-empty 109s in the morning?" It wasn't a normal day.
Yeah, you're
Like,
right.
There's so much rage.
I really like this. I think this is it still gives them an opportunity to get some points if they can't complete the whole thing, but it's not upside down where you go in and there's like 4 little things left. So I think this is I'm really happy with this change.
I generally don't mind going around and just finishing off targets if the finishing part is still worthwhile doing. I don't mind doing that. If the little guys can only do the outside bits and have to leave them, so long as it's worth my while now mopping up the remaining part, I'll be content just to do that, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest. You know, and I'm sure the rest of the buys with the big stuff will probably be the same sort of, you know, sort of sentiment. So props to Kicks there. Thanks very much, guys, for listening to everybody, because I think that's going to make the FM more palatable to everybody, I think, in the future. So cool. Stu, do you want to carry on?
Sure. The FM target transition continues this week. The level 102 Blitz FM target is being removed, and we are introducing the new replacement, the level 103 Blitz target. Was I supposed to shout that first bit because it had an exclamation mark?
Possibly not.
You can do it again shouting if you want.
The FM target transition continues. There you go.
It's supposed to
There
have
you
drama.
go.
I think it's drama you need, mate. I'm not quite sure. You know.
I don't know, but yeah, solid. Okay.
It depends if you're one of the whiny guys or one of the happy-go-lucky round guys, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what if it was written in caps lock, though?
Oh,
Oh my
everyone
God.
could read it. Everyone could read it, though. It'd be so much
He'd
easier.
have problems with that.
Feel shouty. He's good at
Well, that means someone on the forums wrote it.
Yes.
that. Yes. Yeah.
Probably me. Right. We
Moving
have
on.
reduced capacity of 48-hour ship build tokens from 3 to 2. Overstock tokens will not be removed, but you will not be able to earn more of these tokens until there is room in your inventory. The daily deal should be updated to reflect this change. Fair enough? Fair enough.
So
This is one of those funny ones, because it sounds like such a simple thing, but apparently Kixeye has been wrangling about it, because they go one way, then back the other way, then back one way, and now back the other way. It's like, I think in the last month we had 4 changes to that, because daily deals offered 3, it was 2, changed to 3, by mistake went back to 2, and then back to 3, and now back to 2, but with the daily deals fixed. It's a funny thing.
So do we know if this is permanent GDA? Is this now the thing, and they're going to stop doing it? It's not, is it? No, I didn't think so. Life's not that simple, is it? So it's just 2 departments need to chat to each other, basically to say you're either going to leave it at 2, or when the deals come out, you're going to raise it to 3, and it doesn't take 10 people to put a ticket in. I don't know. What do you think? Go on.
It's been discussed many times. There are very good reasons for keeping it to 2, more for our own management of the game. But we want to make sure that at certain times you have the ability to build a ton of stuff, and that's just kind of where the pendulum has been swinging. But we have discussed this particular thing extensively.
So
I think it's the right word.
Yeah. So we get the chance to surge, basically, and just gather up, and then okay, I get that. And I suppose during the release of obviously the monos and that sort of stuff, and really encouraging people to step away from the citadels now and bite it with a bullet and go forward with something else, that makes sense that was available to us. Yeah, I can see that. Right, cool. So that's it for bug fixes and tuning. Thanks, Stu. Right, you can retire again now for the rest of the evening if you want to.
All right, I'll come back in 6 weeks, guys. See you later.
So soon?
Perfect. Right. Anyway, so oh gosh, that's a bit brighter than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so I thought we'd have a little look forward here. In your face. Okay. Then.
You put glitter on the background. What did you expect?
Hey, I'm that sort of guy.
Well, they're in San Francisco. What do you want?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, that's why there's glitter.
Hello.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
He's in.
Well, all that
He and Andrew
pizzazz.
are
Yeah.
across the pond. That ain't. Anyway.
So now George is sitting there like, can we say that on live air? Is
I know.
that right?
Too late. We just did. It's a Brit show. Like it or lump it. Right. Okay then. Yeah. So here we go then. So sneak peeks to look forward. So thanks again. Some profs there to the kick. So we've got a little bit of a sneak peek now at some of the stuff that's going to be released over the coming few weeks and that sort of stuff. There are no stats. Okay. And so don't go, oh, that's not, because as was hinted on the forums, there are some previews up and coming. We won't discuss which ones, but that will be released in due course. And basically the previews will be talking about some of the things that are available via these pictures and some other stuff that I couldn't quite get the pictures for because the graphics aren't quite ready. But we'll start.
We do want to thank GD Rakin for providing us with these things.
Yeah. I'm not sure who decided to let us have them, but thanks anyway. We put enough pressure on. Basically, people in the end fold and go, "Well, you should shut up and leave me alone." It's quite good. I like it. So here we go. So here's a picture of the Justice, okay, which should be the next of the Defender holes. Is that correct? Right? Am I right there?
Yes.
Made him a goof. Okay, that's good. Okay. What type of hull is it? What's its capability, and what's it going to be doing? Okay, well, let's have a look. So that's a Legion hull, I take it. Is it that sort of stuff? Yeah, looks like it by that color scheme.
Yeah, looks like it.
The big flat sort of like you could skim it as a stone sort of thing. They all look like that, don't they? Now.
I think it's a Forsaken hull.
Oh, is it?
Is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, it looks a heck of a lot like the Survivor that we just got.
Well, why don't you
Looks
ask
like a buff
GDA?
nut
That's why he's
survivor.
here.
Yeah.
Can we just
if
make it
you-
up? Yeah, it's a funny color for a Reaver, but there we go. Yeah, okay. But fortunately, on that hull then goes
Right,
this.
it's Forsaken.
Okay, so we're going to get this.
Oh, Forsaken. All right.
Okay, so we're going to get this nice cannon to go with it as well, which I like the artwork on that. That's good, and it's obviously a beast because it's
those are
actually being chained.
chains.
It's
So I
chained
have a
down.
question. If I
Chained
can-
down. That's pretty cool.
Is that a regular weapon or a heavy weapon? Because it looks like beefed up like a heavy weapon.
I just made it look big. I don't know.
It's a
Yeah,
regular
but-
weapon, despite the chains. It's
Okay.
a regular weapon.
Okay, they're obviously digital
Cool.
chains. I just zoomed in too far. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. So there we go. So there's the Panax cannon, that sort of stuff. And to go with that, which I like the special, it's fantastic, I think. So there we go. So that's the augmented ballistic armament. So there you go. It's going to be a ballistic hull. So just imagine all the boosts that the Defender series is giving you and that sort of stuff. So this one's going to be a ballistic specific.
The only thing I'm kind of slightly worried about is that previous ballistic defenders have been lacking in any power. You got anything to comment on that, GDO? Due to accuracy, I'd say.
I really can't talk about the previous defenders before my time. I helped out a lot with this particular defender. It's targeted based upon some of our PvP plans that I'm sure you're going to ask me about in a few minutes. So
Yep.
I'll specifically bring up the Justice when we get to those questions.
Oh,
Okay, fair enough.
And okay, one question if I may
Twist door to
now
that barrel.
for later. Just now, I mean, the one big problem with the ballistic hulls in defense was the range of 100 when everything else now pretty much has 102 plus. Is this was this addressed in the Justice?
I don't know. Because we're not ready to release any stats yet on that. We're doing some final tuning before the preview. The thing to do on the preview is definitely take a look at it because we believe we've spackled in ranging issue, or we've spackled any holes with our ranging issues with Justice and some other defenders supporting it. So that's about the best I could say. I mean, like there's a bunch of stats that are in front of me, but I don't think it would be wise until we're through with our final vetting and QA before we show it to you guys on, I think it's Thursday this week.
Okay, well that's perfect timing because I was just going to tease you, keep them up and then. So yeah, so the if you've said it, I can say it. Okay, and so TFC will be running and streaming that preview, which will be this Thursday, 2 days time. Okay, and I'll stream that one, and as ever, we'll have the Hangouts up and running. Anybody else can get in. I think it's like kickside time late in the morning, isn't it? And
Video.
And just to be clear, right, the preview will be focused on the Justice combo, not raid targets, not anything else. I think the Thursday preview is just solely focused on players hitting other players' bases, and people using the Justice as part of their base defense.
Yes.
Correct. And we welcome MudGlut attempts against bases.
Sounds like a
Throwing
dare.
it out there. Just throwing it out there. No guarantees. You got
Come at me, bro.
All
Come
right,
on.
so I'm going for your base first. Then.
One of you guys has got to come and hit my base, okay?
Well, as long as Stu leaves my base alone this time.
Oh no, I'm going for you again.
Okay, so there we go. I think it's PST 11:30 or something like that. I think it is, which is 7:30 p.m. UK time, I believe.
It's
and
Well, they haven't-
it's for an hour and a half.
30 Pacific time.
Is
No, 11 or 11:30 Pacific
I think it's
time.
11:30.
don't remember
It runs
exactly.
an hour and a half, doesn't it? And it's basically no bubbles, no half fix, and that sort of stuff, and smash the crap out of each other. That's it. Yeehaw! Good fun. And Kixie coins, I love it. And I'm definitely going to take out obviously my favourite hull and take it for a spin because I haven't taken out my my
You mean
massive.
the Arena Gunboat?
No, not that one. You know which one?
Man of War.
My Man of War. It's coming out.
Oh, 22-hour long repair. Yay.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Right.
I'm going to
Okay.
park my ghost crawler right outside TSM's base.
Sink it. Okay, so let's move on to some other things then. So there we go. That's the pictures. The one that you probably do want to see is. Does anybody want to see what the new assault hull looks
baby.
like? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay, man, it's got flames and everything. Look at that. Okay, and so we know then that we're now going to go into an assault raid format. Okay, and the hull we're going to be using is Reaver. Okay, which I like. Okay, so we're going to have a Reaver missile chucker. I know what happens to Reavers when they overload; they go mental. So, looking forward to this one, I must admit.
And they have
So,
speed,
yeah.
which means that we might not have to deal with that the Apollo and Monolith speed up mechanic.
So yeah, very true.
Doesn't it look like a baby Hellstar?
Yeah, Baby
Yeah.
Hellstar, or like a Twisted Fury. I don't know. I like it. It looks cool.
It's
as
got like a
hell.
bit of malice in it.
Rack in it as well.
It's like a lot of stuff in
that's-
there. It's
yeah,
really
the
nice.
malice. That's what I was thinking of. I like the
So,
little
like,
You need to be
chromosomes.
very careful.
The only thing I do ask is please don't make it a gazillion hours repair time like the old Reavers used to be. Just be cautious, please,
Yeah.
because the old days.
GDA, if you can say, I mean, if you can't, it's okay. But so last year in the Assault Raid, the Civil War series, we had a Forsaken hull, the Apollo, fighting Legion targets. So now we know this year for the Assault cycle, we're going to have a Reaver ship fighting which faction? If you can say.
Yep. In fact, I'll give you a little bit of narrative. You're going into a place called the Glowing Sea, which is the homeland of the Reavers.
Okay.
Do
So
I
is it
get
gonna
my
be a
Reaver?
Reaver? Is it going to be a Reaver
There
ship
might
fighting
be
Reaver
Reaver
targets?
dogs there. What was
Okay.
that? What was that, Ren?
I was just going to say, so we're going to the Reaver homeland or home water with a Reaver ship. So are we going to be fighting Reaver targets?
Quite a few Reaver targets. There's
Cool.
some other interesting things in there that I'm not going to say anything about in the B set, but in the A and the S set, yep. Reaver.
Am I going to see Reaver penguins and Reaver dogs?
Just for you, Stu.
Just
for
thinking
you.
there might be a hidden Reaver dog in there, but I can't confirm or deny it.
Woohoo!
You've got to do it.
Okay, so that
And
ends it for the for obviously the sneak peek and that sort of stuff. So I just thought we'd basically introduce the up and comings, that sort of stuff. So it's a bit of, and thanks again for releasing those pictures because it gives people an insight as to what's coming. We now know that that's the Phoenix. We now know it's Assault. Well, we know it's Reaver straight off. So that's great. And thanks, GD, for the detail that we're going to have some Reaver fun. One of my favourite factions, I must admit, Reaver, because it's colourful, and B, I like the fact that they speed up, zoom off, and then go mental when they go into overload and that sort of stuff. It's a good experience.
Yeah. Props on the artwork for these. These are really cool looking.
Yeah, they are. I must admit, they're stunning. Right, okay, so next we've got a blank slide, because I wasn't quite sure what time you're coming on. And now we're going to go, into the most important part, which will start off on a Q&A basically for what we've all now tended to class as the MudGlut. Okay, and so obviously it's the new, the new sub, the Conqueror sub, but obviously with the new missile that has made it into a base annihilator,
wrecker,
basically.
yeah.
Yet again, I don't know if that was the intent, or I don't know if it wasn't the intent. I don't know if it was meant to be just prep ship or a full killer or that sort of stuff. But it's absolutely. It's one thing I'll say. It has empowered the mid-level player to get into PvP, because even level 76 came and smashed my base number 122, and I have absolutely no issues with that, because even he PM'd me afterwards. He went, "I haven't done PvP for over a year," and I went, "Good on you, mate. That's great." But Stu's got the opposite end of the spectrum, haven't you, Stu?
I have, but I do want to say that if you're not going to nerf it, then you should definitely update the description to say something like, "Haha, you're stuck in my channel. Oh crap, I just lost my outpost." Like that would be perfect, right?
No, you just ruined the
no, I'm at the opposite end, and basically we've got players everywhere just playing with dead bases to smash as many people as possible before they get frubbled by someone
themselves. Yeah. So those that are chasing the medals, they are playing a completely different game now, and they're having to. I have to say, I even seen some pally alliances bubbling each other as soon as they go and got as many medals as they can. They just go and bubble each other, which I haven't seen in a long time in the game. But anyway, we'll jump forward a slide. Okay, so I actually got given the slide. I don't know who the cues are. So Stu, George, I think this one's.
George put that together.
Yeah, this is my
okay,
deal.
you take it away.
I had a couple of questions, and I tried to get most of the general questions about the MudGluts together to get addressed by GGA, who was very nice enough to come on and actually address it, which a lot of people didn't think was going to ever happen, because they've been asking on the forums. I mean, the forums blew up, our page blew up. It was a game changer. So I tried to put it together, the biggest questions that people asked in general that I saw or was asked, and these are them. So GDA, do you want to go down the list, or do you want me to read them and then talk about each one?
Why don't you ask me the question, so that way we're clear on what I'm talking about.
Okay, so the first one was the splash and the power of the MudGlut combination actually intended?
No. This is mea culpa here. So when we built the gluttony, we had intended for it to serve a combat support role, but that was never the final design of the gluttony. We wanted to show you how a healing sub would change the PvP meta, which is something that we're very interested in doing over time. But the intent for the gluttony was always to be a base hitter just like anyone else. So we cooked up the missile to go with it, the muddle. But the mea culpa part is it did not interact as we expected with especially the range additions. And so we ended up with a missile that is a little bit out of line in terms of its power. But generally speaking, what we wanted was the MudGlut to be a viable base hitter, and we got that. Was the power level of it correct? No, not at all.
Okay, that might actually come up again in two more questions. The next one was just a quick question, because the Howlock Alpha Behemoth is the hull that people are essentially putting in to try and counter this a little bit, and what they're finding is that once it's pinched, if it's under fire at the same time that it gets pinched, it dies very rapidly. Was that intended? Yes.
So we've always had it that if you get pinched, you drop your auras.
Yeah, same as a pride for the fact. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good hull, guys. And but on the other hand, there's always a counter. We try and build in a counter, and if we don't have a counter, we intend to ship a counter not too long after. And so the pinch is the primary counter we envision for the Harlock's Alpha Beam.
Perfect. All right, so then we go back to the MudGlut, and I guess this one's more of a design-wise, is the MudGlut doing what you want in the game?
Actually, yes. It's doing what we want. Is its power correct? No. But is it doing what we want? Yes. We wanted the sub to be...
Did he die?
I think we just lost GD.
Did I freeze or did he freeze?
I think we lost him.
Okay.
George, you've killed him. Well done.
He'll jump back on in a minute.
He got censored.
It's all my fault. I'm sorry.
Tinfoil hat on. He got censored.
Okay, somebody just PM him a second, and we'll get him back, I'm sure.
So basically what you were saying is that the power balance is not what they intended, but they did want it to be a very variable base hitting option, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of people were still treating MudGluts as just a prep fleet. And what he said isn't that. He said it's supposed to be a base hitter on its own.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
It's
yeah.
just a bit
And I
power.
like the pinch stat as well, because that's also on the Pride. If you remember, if you hit an EMP on a warehouse with a Pride, you lose your Prideful effect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so it's the same way around.
And it honestly surprises me that people were asking about that because
It
I
does
mean,
me
I've
as
been in this
well.
game for a long time, and I remember pinching hurricanes with ED3 auras so they wouldn't slow down my fleets, or trying to pinch hurricanes with the cavitator module so my subs could drive by. I mean, that's been the behavior since ever in the game, that when you pinch a ship, any auras go away.
Right. I think
come back
part of
later.
I think part of the problem is too, and I don't know if they're aware of this yet. If you pinch the Howlock Alpha Behemoth, for some reason, a regular alpha also becomes weaker than if it was by itself.
Yeah, even if it's not near. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
I love
because
chat right now.
the,
Like
that's
chat
because
just
the
put, "We
HAB
got
gives a
pinched."
buff to all defenders, right?
No,
Isn't there a
if you
defensive
test,
buff to
if
all
you go,
defenders?
if you go and test, like if you go stick just a regular alpha out and see how many hits it'll take, right? And then put it into a fleet with a Howlock Alpha Behemoth and the Howlock gets pinched, that alpha will not last as long as if
That's
it was
weird.
on its own. Yeah. And it's only something that I've seen a couple of times, and I haven't had the chance to actually test it myself so I could see if I could reproduce it and pass it on. So yeah, it's a little bug that I think
I
I'm not
actually
even sure
thought
if
that
they're
might be
aware of
down
it.
to the corrosive, the damage over time stat that it leaves, because MudGluts do damage over time, right?
No.
Yep.
No, the
I'm
thing
pretty sure they leave like a little corrosive sign on
the
the
thing I
ship.
find
or
interesting,
whatever they
with the
touch.
bonus that you get from the Harlock, the HAB, basically, when it's pinched, obviously you lose that capability. But when the pinch is finished, it should retain its bring the ability back again.
Yeah,
I think in some respects it's taking too long, or it's not actually coming back. Right, the aura effect is not coming back, which means the other hulls are then more vulnerable, and that's how it seems to be working. From
Yeah.
experience.
No, yeah, I think you might be right. Sorry, Brian, did you say that it does give like a little corrosive thingy or not?
No, there's no corrosive.
No.
It just is
No,
it gives
I can't remember what weapon it was I've seen recently. Oh no, it's the base
There
turret.
is
my
a
bad.
down effect, like Brian said. The down effect is like those pink auras. They don't give corrosive over time. There's no dot, but they give you a decrease in damage from the enemy ships. They hurt you less pretty much when they hit you, which is not a concern with gluttonies, because with gluttonies either you're not being hit at all or you're being killed instantly.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, if you're fast enough, you're not being hit anyway.
Yeah,
Like you can get spotted and just run past. Especially if you run a what's it called? The new one, Survivor flag. If you run that with it, you can literally just run
Holy
straight
crap, guys.
What happened there?
there
buddy?
you go. There you are.
past. Did George kill you?
Yeah, all this is going to do is cause conspiracy theories. I like
Censor for saying too much.
exactly. So we have 3 Wi-Fi networks. I'm frantically going through all 3 of them trying to find one that works. I'm back.
Well, basically, it's right. Chat knows what's up, mate. All right. Chat's already said he got pinched. All right, and that's
Yeah.
what happened.
Yep.
Yep.
It's all true. It's all true.
Oh,
They're
okay.
going to come escort me out any minute now.
So let's finish the previous question and get that closed off, because we were halfway through a conversation. Then we'll move on. George, do you want to go back to it, mate?
The MudGlut, whether it's not doing doing what you guys designed, or design wise, is it doing what you wanted in the game? And you started saying yes, but the power.
Right. So,
Lost.
so question 1 was the power what we intended? No. The question 3 is it doing what we want as a design? Yes. So keeping the 2 separated is pretty important. We want the Gluttony to be a base hitter, in addition to being a support ship. And part of that's our PvP philosophy, which is we don't want to tell you how to build these hulls too much, so that way you can surprise each other and sometimes us. So this is what we wanted, but we didn't want it to be as strong as it is right now.
surprise you very often?
When you talked about Savage Kodiaks the other day, you surprised the hell out of me.
That worked well. I'm using it.
Yeah, I went and tried it right away too.
What a difference. What a transformation. And if you put the right crew on as well, you get another reload buff as well.
Yeah,
put a Savage Kodiak flag and a Molotov Maidens, and it's beautiful.
Did you try the Survivor MudGlut? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I watched a video from one of our other guys on it, and yeah, works great.
Told you.
Okay, next
Very good stuff. So the next one is because of the way that it's now in the game. Are there counters or a nerf being looked at for the MudGlut combo?
Right. So first answer, no nerf. We don't want to change the missile, but what we do want to do is update the player feedback, the art of what's going on, so that way it's a little bit more clear. But the real question is, are there counters? We don't design anything for PvP without pre-planning either counters or exploring, how do I put it, old stuff that would already counter it if it can be discovered. And so there's a couple things that could handle MudGluts that are back in the old catalog that we were looking at. But the specific thing is we are shipping a bunch of counters, actually, and we're also shipping some other stuff that I would like to tell you about. First off is, sorry, I had to check my notes to make sure that this is the right question for it. First off, the Justice was already, well, back when we made the PvP plan, was already designed to handle the Gluttony and to a lesser degree another famous hull that I'm not going to mention that is similar to it, because we knew that that was going to be a defense need. And we also wanted to say with our first Tier 6 Defender that this is a Defender with a role. Defenders have always struggled with us and with the players because it's kind of hard to justify a Defender sometimes. No, this guy is intended to be not a hard counter, of course, but if you build it right and you build good defenses, it's going to be a strong part of your defense against the MudGlut. The other part is we're shipping 3 base defense improvements. We've got a list of things that we would like to work on. We don't always have time for it. This time we made the time for it. A good example, there's going to actually be a post about this, so I'm not going to jump too far ahead of it. But an example is the chromium overlay will be available for buildings as well as for turrets. Stuff like that, so that way you guys can immediately work on building up your defenses while you wait for the Justice and some of the other stuff coming that will handle the MudGlut just fine.
And
sorry, let me ask that again. So you're saying we're going to be able to equip turrets with chromium overlay?
Buildings.
So that's how it is today. It equips on buildings already. So
no. He means it will now defend turrets.
Yeah, sorry.
Buildings.
Yeah.
Like as before, it only did.
So instead of just walls, it's actually going to increase resistance for other buildings.
Yes.
Right. Anything that's a structure. I mean, technically, the technical side of it is there were restrictions on what structures it could defend. We removed all those restrictions. We also did it for the other members of the family for explosive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
good, because now the BP reads correct.
That's cool.
Right.
Nice.
And to be honest, it was something that was always on our roadmap.
Tick list.
We just pushed it way forward to handle this specific issue.
Excellent. All right. The next two kind of go together. I kind of wanted to know what the overall plan was for PvP in general going forward. And as an example, many of the TLCs seem to require, like, say, the Pride, right? Will that continue going forward for, PvP TLCs and stuff? And will things like the Pride that you need to build on be readily available to those that don't have it now?
Right. So yeah, I'll take kind of number 6 first about the Pride specifically, and I'll use that to talk about what our overall plan is. So when we began, I think it was Ren that mentioned that we had this plan that we had messaged to you guys before, that there's going to be a series of hulls that come out that we build on each other over time, that if you use those hulls on the next feature, you're going to have a good time, and if you don't, you'll have a rougher time. And so so that was always the plan. The Pride kind of fell off the wagon a little bit because of various sequencing things. we're reoffering the Pride in several ways, actually, coming up, specifically because we want the Pride to stand up next to the MudGluts, especially, even if, before the MudGlut was an issue with you guys, we wanted it to stand up because, as someone noted in chat, corrosive and corrosive. And then we have the Justice that will work to counter that. But what's, kind of how does this all live together? Our job is to offer you an opportunity to disrupt PvP, and then we offer everyone a solution to the disruption. That's how we've always done it. The MudGlut just is so prominent in our mind because it was a pretty dramatic change, a little bit stronger than we'd hoped. But the goal is always, so for PvE, our job is to create a puzzle for you, right? Like, here's a puzzle to solve, and here's some tools, and we're pretty specific nowadays about, like, here are some tools that we know in the right hands with skill and investment of your time and effort, you'll succeed with. At least that's our goal with PvE. Now, PvP is not the same way, and it should not be the same way. PvP is about creating problems for a stable environment. So we look for stability in the PvP setting. We say, okay, have things started to settle down? Okay, now's the time to move to the next step in our I use the word disruption. I know that might cause fear and panic amongst the masses.
So you're saying upset the apple cart, basically. People
right,
are stabilized,
exactly. So
and then let's add another thing. Yeah.
Right. Sorry to interrupt. We want to create a problem, and then we will give you solutions to that problem if the solutions are not immediately apparent. And the idea is PvP is supposed to be about you, all the players, not about us. We should be a minor part in deciding how you guys build your ships and fight one another, because ideally you guys figure that out. And what's interesting about our current PvP meta, just in general, is it does incentivize you to do a very broad defense because you don't know what's coming at you. And that's one of the things we're looking at pretty closely, because what we want to do is we want to finish adding all of the attack options while sprinkling in the defense options, and then we'll swing around and really buff up defense for the players who can kind of figure out how to do that. Cool. But that's always been the plan. So if you think about the state of the game, I tried to delve into that a little bit, and I think as I continue to get questions about PvP, which is one of the few areas that every single designer touches in our on our team, because we want to make sure that there's ample opportunities to disrupt, upset the apple cart, as you say, and then provide solutions to that upsetting.
Yeah, it's good. So long as it's a stable imbalance and it's a constant, and there is no okay, I get it. The MudGlut has made an interesting sort of like tangent, which is going to be realigned and that sort of stuff. But so long as there's consistency in the upset, then that creates interest, and that's what keeps the stews of the game in the game.
Right. Right. And then so this is all playing into bounty, which I want to just give a quick plug for. So the bounty hunt is intended to provide the final piece of what I think is necessary, or what we think is necessary for the PvP world, which is something really tangible to fight over. And we have high hopes that you guys are going to see what we're offering there. It's a pretty brutal system, I'm not going to lie. You opt into that bounty system, you're in for a fight. And here comes the plug, by the way, thank you. You're in for a fight. Because in the end, I don't want PvP to ever feel soft and solvable. I want you to always feel like you are up against a hard problem to solve, especially with people like Stu in the game, who is very good at figuring out some of the solves before other players. That's the motivation, right? So when the bounty system comes, you will have limited tools to fend off attackers, but you'll have tools. But the main thing is learning how to hit hard and hit wisely to maximize your bounty gain.
Good.
Well, thank you for the compliment, sir.
Yeah,
different stew.
Yeah, I figured I would plug this guy named
to pay you for that?
Well, this guy named Stu Jones, he's a really good player. He lives in Texas. But
just to clarify,
for
though,
reminding
that was
me,
definitely about me, all right?
no one player is better than the other. In my heart.
But we all know I'm better than George, so it's fine.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, just to make it clear before we move on. So the bounty system, like you said, players will have to opt in whenever they want to join the fight, right? So, because just when you say it's going to be real hard, real brutal, I mean, just want to make sure that players understand it's not going to be mandatory.
Yep.
You get in if you want for the cycle, right?
Right. But there is so the brutality comes with the people at your level. So the system is designed around hitting up. And so what that means is once you get strong, there's no bottom feeding. There's no hitting down to gain bounty. Like, sure, I'm sure you guys will come up with excellent kind of metagame strategies for the system, and it's kind of designed to handle that. But the real answer is if you're okay at PvP, or if you have just a bunch of tier 5 conquerors, there will be a level that you'll find of people that have equivalent bounty, because that's just how it's going to shake out. Someone's going to hit you, take a bunch of your bounty, and far surpass you, and then they're on a different level and fighting different people. You're going to be fighting people at your level, and if you get good, then you'll move up and fight other people.
So just
But eventually you're going to find your ceiling or find your floor.
Right. And so far, all our testing seems to have that. We have a really bad PvPer, and he doesn't seem to hate being on the bottom because he still has options.
okay.
So
So
I
that's
know you guys don't have a whip anymore, but if I may, I mean, without anything written in blood, when more or less do you think that's going to come in the live game?
After the June event, for sure.
Oh, okay. So it's really short runway.
Yeah, well, maybe after the July event too. But we're actively testing the system and have been for some time. We want to make sure this system is right. We know that it's a big change to the game, and we haven't really done a lot of that this year. So we want to make sure it's right.
And is it going to replace the existing medal system, or is that going to still be there?
For the foreseeable future, medals will march alongside it.
Oh, okay.
okay. Good. Couple of points, if you wouldn't mind. So one problem with the FAT was basically that people would go in and deliberately lose to start with to get a low grading, so they can go in against obviously lower levels and then annihilate them to start with. Yes, they'll go back up, but they can't do that yo-yo. I take it. Once they're up, they're up.
No, I mean, so if you don't invest a lot of your resources and time, which we kind of handle, you will lose a lot of bounty every time you're hit. So if you invest and rise, you will be able to protect more and more of that bounty. But that's kind of the equivalent. There is a case for people getting knocked way down, but there's things on the side like being able to generate your own bounty over time and stuff like that will allow you to rise back up. And we've also, at the end of the bounty system, there's a store, much like the event. And we've priced things pretty, how do I put this? We've priced it so that way noobs who lose a lot have good stuff. And then we've also priced it so that way if you want to get the top prize, which is hopefully every time a hole that is not available otherwise, then you're going to have to be aggressive. You're not going to have time to spend time down below playing with the lower levels.
Good. And just clarifying, this isn't in a locked away area. This is out on the battle zone because bubbles are open, aren't they? You know, if you go into something, your base is available.
Yes.
And
if you opt in, if you choose to join bounty, then yes, it's just your regular game now.
So you could be got another way as well at the same time. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
On that opting in thing, you know, you've said that it's going to be tough and that not everybody should be participating. If somebody does opt in and it is way over their head, is there a way for them to opt out, or is this one of those things that once you're in and tough noogies?
Once you're in, you're in. So you know, if you get 3-starred, you got what, a 12-hour bubble. So for the short duration that these things last, you can hide in your bubble. That's fine. We have set the lowest prize pool such that with a pretty good prize, such that even if you just completely suck at PvP, you still can get a prize. And it's not even like, because when we first discussed it, it's like, yay, a participant ribbon. But no, it's not even that. It's a pretty nice prize, because we want you to make the mistake of coming in, if it is a mistake for you, and then realize that there is room for you to grow, and that there's awesome prizes to be that are available to you.
Cool. But just to clarify,
I'll
if you
at
opt in,
least get
you're
one
not in
prize.
forever. The cycle restarts every few days or whatever.
Yeah, so
Right.
we're not speaking yet, because one of the things we're actively testing is the timing. There is a sweet spot we're shooting for. So somewhere between 4 and 7 days is one bounty cycle. It could be down to 2 days is one of the things we're testing, because the pressure to perform is actually a benefit for the players, not for Kixeye. But we need the pressure to perform, so that way you guys understand the stakes. One of the things that is going to happen with a system like this, I've built PvP systems before, and Raken and some of the others who are helping me with this also have, is there's that middle period. Like, there's the first rush, there's a middle period, and then there's the end rush, what we call the eBay sniping period. And in that middle period, should never be so long that you forget that there's a bounty system going on. And it should never be so long that everyone feels like this is time to rest. Resting is bad for the players in this system, because then the bounty won't get generated and distributed enough for you guys to get the top prizes. So no rest. So the timing of that's very critical. And then there will be plenty of time in between bounty hunts, so that way you can rebuild and rethink your defenses and such.
Brian, you got a cue, mate.
Yes. So the timing, you're working on different timing cycles and all that, but this is going to be in the regular game. Are you working with other members of the team, or even other teams, on balancing the PvE load at that time with the PvP load, such that repair isn't overwhelming if you want to do both?
Yeah.
Like, if you have a long TLC and this, you can't really do both well.
Right. So at least for the first bounty hunt, we're making sure that we help you guys focus on it, I guess is the nice way to put it, by not providing a lot of distractions. No guarantees, because we want to see how people perform. One of the nice things is during a bounty hunt, and this is the big news, during the bounty hunt there are 2 repair queues. There is a repair queue that is dedicated to Conquerors, and then there is your regular repair queue.
Perfect. I was just going to ask
Awesome.
that. Better.
And
That is really cool.
That's fantastic.
And I will say the worst part of the dual repair queues is when bounty hunt ends and we go back to 1 repair queue. It always hurts, which I guess means we really should talk more and more about 2 repair queues.
But that's about, I mean, that's the thing I want to just make, the problem, I mean, and this is sort of bleeds into something. I know we've got one more question to do, and I want to go over one thing about the PvP overall plan in a second. But the issue with, obviously, the number of fleets available in your dock, we're getting up with an awful lot of, obviously, PvP content. The ideal thing of splitting the dock into half into the 2 factions, i.e., well, not the factions, but the 2 areas, PvP and then PvE, and then having 2 repair columns, if that could be somehow stitched in the game in the future, not too far in the distant future, then that would absolutely encourage people to go, well, I've done my chores, I'm fixing, let's go and smash something. And I think that would really entice people back into the PvP part permanently, because as Brian says there, he cannot fix everything all at one time. And when you want to be going out and and I'm sure you won't run it over, obviously, the VXP weekend, but, imagine if that did, if you've done around a 7-day and it laps in with something else, he's got to make a decision, something has to give, and we want to be doing all things at all time. And I know you want us to log on forever. Yeah, that's the rule of the game. You want us to log on to your game and not somebody else's. So my advice, if you're going to listen to anything at all, is split the bloody thing in half. And let's have 2 dedicated streams. We can hold a set number of PvP holes, we can hold a set number of PvE holes, and we can fix and fight the 2 things separately. That would transform the game. Absolutely transform it.
I completely agree with that. That would make the game so much more fun. Like, not having to worry about, oh, well, I've done my weekly mission now and I need to repair this fleet, so I can't really go out and PvP because then I've got to repair 2 fleets. Like that would literally make the game so much more active. And like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of players out there that agree with that. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and obviously, definitely not going to make any promises there.
No, I get it. But that would.
But listen, we agree. As just a general rule, my main discomfort with our PvP system is it has to take second class to PvE because you have things you need to do to progress in the game and to stay current in the game. I'm pretty uncomfortable with that. We're all uncomfortable with that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make PvP just as valuable and viable for every player, or at least as many players as possible. And this is the first steps for that. And if this works as we hope, and with you guys' feedback, we will find out. Then yeah, things like 2 repair queues, splitting out PvP into its own sort of ecosystem. These are all things that we would really love to do too for you guys.
Okay, super. So going back quickly to question 5 then, about the overall plan for PvP. It just said about, we talked about justice. We've already got a flag. It's not going to be a flag hole, is it? It's you can put it in any slot. Are we happy with that then? Yeah, good. Excellent. Okay, on to the last one, George, then.
Yeah, so the last one is on the PvP plans. Are they going to make, like, say, the Malice available often, as it seems to be the most effective T5 tank for people lagging behind on T6 tech? And honestly, I'm kind of thinking more now all the T5 stuff, because if we're going to have players going into this bounty thing and they have no PvP stuff at all, it's a good transition to get into PvP to have the T5 stuff available. What are the plans with that?
I'm pretty sure you guys have been looking on our roadmap, because coming up very soon is what is listed in my roadmap, at least, is Tier 5 Conqueror TLC. And it's exactly what you heard. And I'm happy to report that the Malice was the very first one we put on the list for prizes for that. So we see what you're seeing, which is we want to give. So if the premise of bounty is you'll find your level, there's got to be a level for people who are in the T5 area, and so the only way we can prove that is by re-releasing T5 hulls. We're also going to use that opportunity to release some T5 turrets and specials for turrets that we feel are pretty critical for good base defense. So that look for that to be coming pretty soon. I actually have a bunch of notes for this particular question, but I pretty much covered it. So the big thing is anytime we talk about PvP, we want maximum flexibility. PvE is not that way. We want, PvE is about, here's your class, here's some ships that would work in that class. But PvP is the exact opposite. We want maximum flexibility, and we want to increase, we want to create as a diverse environment as possible. We want to see things like Savage Kodiaks coming in,
good.
and finding new viability, finding new life, allowing players to just find ways to win at PvP. So we can't do that and then like hold all the T6 hulls and that's it. We need to make sure you guys get some T5 hulls in there.
Awesome. Now, of course, I have to ask the question: if it's going to be a TLC for the T5 or Tier 5 hull items, are they going to be tokens with them too?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yep.
Okay.
Because otherwise, a lot of you folks have a lot of these hulls and data, and so we wanted to make sure that there were tokens in there, so that way everyone would want to try it.
Yeah, because I like testing stuff, and tokens make it easy for me.
Breaking, I think the word is, but yes.
I don't break anything.
No, it's good. Excellent. Okay, so if you're not rushing away, general questions. Are you happy with a couple?
Yeah. I've already when the internet went out, I already told them I'm going to skip my next meeting and talk to you guys. So
excellent. Well, then we'll continue.
Nice.
Okay, so questions from the chat, guys, please. Just pump a couple in there, and I'll keep an eye on that. Robin, go on. You go first.
Oh, actually, no. He answered the one that I had on the bounty hunting stuff, so I'm good.
Okay,
right, well,
so the only question I want
right.
to just clarify then. So the hint that you had then was, two streams for obviously during bounty. It sounds like it's going to be at the end of obviously ranking weekend that will end up going back to one stream, and then all of a sudden you're going to have a sea of red in your dock, and it's going to just be one repair column. Is that sound about right? So placement of where the thing ends, and then taking in consideration what you're going to offer next, or does it end and then FM starts, sort of stuff, and then people will be flapping their heads off and that sort of stuff. So I think mindful timelines is probably the point. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how we slot it into the schedule is because of all the other things we got going on.
Understood.
We want it to live with everything else.
But please split the dock permanently. I'll be very happy man then. Okay.
Yeah, there's already been like 2 or 3 questions about storage space or dock space.
Yeah. So Sector Threat Red.
What's that? I've never heard of it.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly. No, so there was a hint that it was going to be coming last year and that sort of stuff. So obviously we went up the sector threats and that sort of stuff, and we didn't actually know what Sector Threat Red was ever going to be. Clearly, you're the same.
Actually, it was supposed to be the center of the draconian uranium bases.
Yeah,
that's correct.
There was a plan in 2016 where, like at orange, you could hit the 4 corners of the dub, and then at red, it would open the center of the dub. Is that still in the plan?
The Team Smash, wasn't it? Like the old original dubs.
Yeah.
So there is a plan for Sector Red. You're essentially correct. A couple details are different. We aren't building it right now, so there's, that's the plan that we've communicated in the past. What's going to ideally happen is once we get other things settled out, we definitely are looking at the dub. It's on the list of things to do. When it gets to that point, there may be a redesign.
Okay.
We try not to be too dogmatic about things we mentioned years ago or even last year if we feel like that's not the right choice. But right now, yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, just a quick one then. So apart from the fact that obviously the alliance points age your reload and those sort of things, and obviously you can get reload on turrets and you can get reload in your own weapons, is there any benefit when you go into obviously this new format and we start attacking bases of being alliance, or is it quite okay for guys that are in the standalone to also compete and be viable? So apart from just obviously getting the routine weekly bonuses from being the alliance through alliance points, there's no other benefit, or is people can be disadvantaged by not being in an alliance?
In a small way, you're disadvantaged for being in a big alliance just because one of the rules of bounty is you can't gain bounty from an alliance mate. And that's just a safety mechanism to prevent. I mean, collusion is going to happen. We have anti-collusion stuff in the design. Good. But one of the ways is just we won't allow a 50-person alliance to just play with itself and ignore the rest of the world.
And it's you're in your own world, isn't it? It's just that one world. You can't jump end to end and that sort of stuff.
I had a couple of questions from chat. One of them was, if a player does not opt into bounty, will they become a farm for everyone else? I'm presuming that's a no.
No, because you can't get bounty from someone who doesn't have any bounty.
There you go. So unless you're not wanting to get bounty, you're not going to be a farm. Unless you need alliance points, then you're probably still going to beat that farm for alliance points. But yeah, the other one was written by Ross, I think.
Yeah, I did. I clocked the Ross one. Hang on, where is it?
Will bounty and being in an alliance make a difference? But
yes, that's one I covered. Yeah.
There was one more, but I forget what his name was now. He disappeared and ran away. Oh, no.
So when bounty starts, there's a question for you. Can you, let's just say if it's in the world that you're in at the moment, and all of a sudden you find that you really don't like the people playing against you, you're getting smashed, can you port out midterm to a different world?
Give me 1 second to think. This is not 100% because the design has changed a couple times based on testing, but currently we're planning on not restricting world moves.
Okay, so you can run away basically.
But not 100% on that one. That one has a big asterisk. You can think of reasons for it.
I can think both pros and cons, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, one of them being Stu.
Oh, he's frozen. Someone's pinched him. Okay, good. Well, hopefully he'll jump back in a second if he hasn't lost himself permanently.
Oh, typical. He freezes and Ren had a question for the last half hour. See, this is what happens, George, when you don't let Ren talk. God's sake.
Yeah, right.
You see, now Ren's smiling because he agrees.
He's back. This is why you guys need to buy plenty of gold, so that way I can
get better internet.
Yeah, geez. Sorry about that. And it doesn't seem to be affecting anyone outside this room. So,
oh man,
clearly I'm trying to dodge your
working.
questions.
Yeah, we've got a little zap button. So every time you say something we don't like, we just zap it.
There you go. Did you get my whole answer on that last question?
No, not quite. No.
Where were we on that?
Relocating during bounty.
Relocating during, yeah.
Yeah. Short answer is we've tried both ways. We're not 100% sure, but right now you can relocate. You can probably think of the reasons why yes and no, and we've been thinking.
Okay. Cool. So there's not obviously to do with the function, but basically someone's asking, will auto holds be made better for the next raid format? So we've had a few issues, haven't we, in the last couple of raids where maybe the iron wasn't quite so robust as we were hoping, and obviously the icebreaker has turned out reasonable now. I have to say, I'm quite content with mine, especially for the FM, and it's the way I'm going to go forward with FM. I have to say, but in general context, it's taken a long time to get there in both formats. Bearing in mind we've only got 3 months to do everything, and it rotates again. Are we better prepped this time in the assault format? Do you think?
Yeah. So we, I definitely want to hear Ren's question, by the way. I'm looking in chat.
Okay.
And then that'll be the last question. But let me answer this one real quick. Look, auto did not work the way we wanted it to. Each time it was because of, I wouldn't say mistakes at all. I would just say that it's very difficult to tune both auto and skill. And we wanted to protect the skill experience in addition to the auto experience. So this time we started with the auto hull probably a month sooner than we normally do. And everyone's involved in this one. So we feel a lot more confident about it. It's also a carrier. You haven't seen those in a while, which meant that we had an opportunity to really break down the mechanics of it and make sure that we're shipping something good for you guys.
Excellent. I mean,
it's not a secret. Skyfire carrier is a UAV carrier. It's pretty awesome, actually. I'm really enjoyed driving that thing.
I really like UAV carriers. So I'm excited and looking forward to that.
I think Ren's got a question.
Yeah. So GDA, my question for you is, as you were answering the second last question on the slide there, you mentioned that you were planning on offering the prize in multiple ways. So back to that, many times there's some level of frustration when there's a prize in the raid and people spend their points to get that prize, and then 3 days later in the update there's either a TLC or it goes back to FM rotation or anything like that. So can you comment about what are these multiple ways you plan on offering the prize? I mean, is it a TLC right after the raid? Is it going to be the bounty system? I don't know, whatever you can comment so people can actually make a better informed judgment on how they're going to spend their raid points.
Right. How to hit this one up. So we have let me just give it like an overview. We have a first offer that should feel pretty exclusive. There should be a gap between the first offer and the second offer. Sometimes the second offer is exclusive-ish, but sometimes we want to just broadly distribute it. We've skipped a second offer for the Pride. We're now to the point that whichever way we do it, we want to find the maximum distribution so you guys can all have it, who want it and can get it. Obviously, that's the big asterisk, is that it's not guaranteed for everyone. So it will be first in either the event or the bounty system or a very accessible TLC, depending upon how we feel that it will distribute it the maximum amount. So that's where we want to go with the Pride. We want to get as many of them into you guys' hands as possible. And so, I've been pushing for the bounty system to grab that one up as one of our prizes in our store. If it's not going to be there, it's going to be in the event. And if it's not going to be in the event, it's going to be in a TLC not too far after. That's pretty accessible.
All right, cool. So final closing question for me, and that's short. Can you tell us what's the next sin?
The next
sin, because we had Pride, we had sloth, gluttony, not in that order. What's the next one?
Lust.
All right.
Lust. Yeah, that's your next sin.
You filthy, lustful people.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love this whole.
Will it be a pink fluffy love heart? Because if it is, Rainer will go nuts.
We still got.
It does have a telltale hourglass shape.
It's pink though. You have to make one pink PvP hole just to keep her happy.
No comment
it's
on that.
Hello Kitty skin.
One for the ladies.
Yeah, Hello Kitty skin. I would drive that through people. I would drive that through people.
Hello Kitty skin with the rainbow cannons.
There you go.
Do it.
They're
Unicorns
lying. They're
just
asking
flying
for
out the back.
themselves.
And glitter. Let's
And glitter. Oh, he's
glitter
nailed it.
CM.
This is why
Glitter
you got the
CM.
job. This is why you got the job.
That's after hours. That's the after hours club, mate. That's nothing to do with this.
But can you imagine the pleasure of smashing someone's base with a Hello Kitty themed hall, shooting rainbows, and with a glittery aura around it, like a disco kind of thing, whatever?
I think there might be
You could just do like 360s in the channel and that, and everything, and it just spit out glitter and unicorns everywhere.
Man. That would be the ultimate I own your ass.
I just wrote down disco ball, so I don't know where we're going to put that, but now I've got a 2018 goal.
It can rotate
Disco
on the
ball
back.
for your base. Yeah,
Put
exactly.
some fluffy bites in the
on top of the OP.
Okay.
That's what the remote targeting motor shoot. It shoots disco balls in the air, and they're all flying through.
Shattering ones, yeah. Right. Has anybody got any final questions just before we close up for the night?
No, I think he's covered everything. That's great.
We're good. GDA, thanks very much for everything. Obviously, that's some really real good insight, proper insight. Okay, then. And I noticed Doom's in chat as well. He's having a laugh. He's been to the gob doctor, dentist, for those that don't know what that means. Okay, and he's drooling all over the keyboard. Whether that's because obviously he wants to get on, and obviously GDA is making such a great job. We don't need him. No, I never said that. My only promise, okay, which I would say again, is please split the bloody dock up so we can fix two baits permanently. I want to be able to fix my PvE, and I want to be able to fix my PvP. That would encourage people to log on more. You'd like that. We'd like that. Okay, then, and then people will fight, but they'll also chore. It's going to make it a transformed game, okay? And so somebody please pick up that in the crew and run forward with it, okay? That's
I hear you.
GDA,
That's
I
my-
wrote down disco ball.
and
yeah,
disco
thanks
ball.
for coming by.
Yeah.
Rainbow Cannon.
Rainbow Cannons. Thanks all for coming in. Thanks to the guys in chat. And we kept people on now for 1 hour and 20. Great. Okay. Thanks again. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.